This video is part of an ongoing book review on L. Taylor Hansen's book, He Walked the Americas. This channel seeks to bring you stories and information on Christ's visits around the world and the message of Christ. Please support the links in the description. Please like and subscribe. This is episodes on Pawnee visits, episode 2. To begin, we're going to address those questions that have been coming up regarding evangelical Christianity and the evidence of Christian beliefs, whether they exist in more places than previously believed. According to this book, they do. We also are understanding that evangelical Christianity has been under attack. And so what are some of those possible reasons? Children in American and European churches have been taught that Christianity did not exist in most parts of the world until it was exported from early European explorers. Many of us went to school, even in our school textbooks. This was the impression we got. We were taught they were strange religions that were not from Europe, and it was the Europeans that introduced this concept of a Christian God. In light of traditional perspectives, Christianity being a world religion that emanated from Rome, therefore the Roman Catholic Church, how is evidence of Christian beliefs existing in multiple cultures in the world reconciled? What is the take of evangelical Christians on stories such as those contained in L. Taylor Hansen's book, He Walked the Americas? Today's story is in the region of Mississippi. The prophet makes a second visit to the Pawnee. Many tribes have tales of the healer and how at one time he came among them. Few did he miss, no matter how distant or poor, or lost in the ways of other religions. But to the Pawnee he came twice, the last time in anger. The prophet had gone westward to that place we call Oklahoma, where the Pawnees had a thriving city, and there he was busy erecting temples and instructing a priesthood. Some wild young braves among Pawnee, who are today known as the Pawnee rather than Pawnee, formed a secret league to prey on the country, to make themselves rich by attacking the merchants and returning to the old war religion. The merchants, thus captured, they would give to the fire god, who would protect them, said the young men. Accordingly, one night the Pawnee waited in a glen of the Mississippi, where the fleet came to camp and rest on its long journey from the southern sea to the capital city. Quietly flowing was the Father of Waters, when to the glen came the long ships of the merchants, to discharge the weary rowers for a good night's sleep in the forest shadows. They suspected no mischief, and no watch was placed over the campsite, since the Pawnees had long been at peace. They laughed and joked as they built a campfire and in noisy fun cooked their dinner. Then came the time of conversation, of remembering the long trip. Small talk of girls in distant cities, of the customs of other nations, and of the man in the flowing white mantle, of whom there was great awe for the miracles he had accomplished. One youth was a skeptic. It is strange that we always seem to miss him, this young man sighed, for I would like to see him, this creature that we call the dawn god, and others the lord of wind and water. Then the talk became hushed, and the headman prepared the tobacco, starting the smoke himself by breathing it to the four directions, taking a few deep puffs of satisfaction before passing it onward to the man to his right in the circle. At last, each got out his blankets, wove a bed of branches for comfort, and rolling tightly in the blankets, was soon asleep beside the low fire. Then, with the yells of Skeery, the gray wolf, the wild Pawnee leaped upon them, snatching from sound sleep their surprised prisoners, now forced to carry their own trade goods back to the camp of the bandits. That was a mad night for the Pawnee, leaping and yelling in the firelight as they staked out 2 men for the fire death, for sacrifices to the fire god. Savage was the untamed dancing as they lit the flames about the Puans. Only one old man protested. He pointed to the east where the star of the morning was rising. But the young men paid no attention. Who cared about the star of the morning? No one but the one they had called the healer when first he had come to see them. But now that one was far away, his magic weak here, and they chanted the wolf song. Laughingly they pointed at the prisoners where one was dead and another dying. Let him come and revive these men. That would be much better magic than stopping a windstorm or walking on water. Then a fire lit up the east sky where cloud banks had been piled up, and everyone turned in wonder as consternation hushed the chanting. Suddenly he was there among them, like a creature from another planet, shining with a strange radiance, each hair of his head luminescent, a weird glow rippling from his garments, and his sea eyes flashing with lightning. He stood staring at the Pawnee people. Is this the way you keep my commandments? Is this the manner of your insult to the spirit called Tir Awa? I come to shield you from his anger, or lo, great wind would ignite the forest, and to ashes would be consigned the Pawnee nation. While the Pawnee stared at him as if frozen, a weak voice cried from the fire, Jesus, master, from these flames release me. The healer turned and looked at the tortured man. You are free, my son. Walk away from the fire. The burned one moved, and the chains fell from him. Then he staggered toward the healer, falling and clutching the hem of the white robe, embroidered with its line of crosses. Those who saw a miracle happen, one which they had said could not happen, for the man straightened up without a blemish. Nor was all over, for toward the dead man moved the prophet. Arise, another day is dawning. Thou art not yet for the land of shadows. Arise and return to the land of the living. The fire died away, and the blackened corpse stirred and lifted its head and its burned arms. Arise, my son. No chains are on thee. Come toward me and be made whole in body, for this day is the will of my Father. The man arose and left the dark flames, staring at his good flesh with eyes unbelieving, murmuring over and over, to think that I had questioned thy power. Forgive my master, an unbeliever. Sealed were the lips of the Pawnee people, and with both shame and terror of a child lost and bewildered. Yet down through the ages has come the story, and sometimes the old ones repeat it on winter evenings beside the camp fire, the legend of the son of mighty Tirawa, who came back in anger on a shaft of the dawn light. By his presence, saved from extinction the entire Pawnee nation. So Jesus was the Pawn name for the dawn god. The Pawnee have a different name. This concludes the reading of the story of a visit to the Pawnees. In response to the questions posed earlier, perhaps modern Christianity should have a rethinking of how it has been taught, as it favored just one race, European, Anglos, Americans, Europeans, due to ignorance of other Christian cultures, evidence of Christian teachings and cultures around the world. Please comment if you have any insight on this. Thank you for watching.